Now, the name of Amazon's Mechanical Turk website has an interesting history. There's a good book on it, which I'll link to in the description. The original Mechanical Turk was a fraudulent chess-playing automaton built in 1770, which seemed to be able to play a strong game of chess against human players. It was brought all around the world by its owner, playing against people like Napoleon and Benjamin Franklin. Its owner would open it up to display the complicated clockwork mechanism inside, but it was later discovered to have a human chess master hiding inside working the machine. Amusingly, Amazon had a second Mechanical Turk, its Go cashierless stores, which were branded as Amazon Fresh in the UK. They used Amazon's Just Walk Out technology, which they said used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, which meant that customers could select items from the shelves and without ringing anything up, they could just walk out and would see the items ring up in their Amazon account. Last year, Amazon began closing some of the stores, and this April, The Information reported that the technology had partially relied on more than 1,000 people in India who were watching camera footage and labeling videos because the underlying technology just didn't work. Instead of AI taking people's jobs, it just outsourced them to India. A friend of mine who's an engineer pointed out a while ago that when you see humanoid robots, which have had a recent resurgence, making human-like gestures such as turning their heads to see something, you should instantly be skeptical, as it's much cheaper and more efficient to put a circular array of cameras or a 360-degree camera in the robot than it is to install all of the motors needed to turn the robot's head. Human-like actions are just there to impress investors. They're not there for the purposes of functionality. Robotics experts mostly agree that humanoid or animal-shaped robots make very little sense because biomimicry just isn't the right approach for any sort of industrial robot. Possibly the funniest example of this is in a photo a friend sent me from an empty office building where the landlord is trying to attract high-tech tenants. The image in the lobby of the building shows robots working alongside humans in a modern-looking office, with a robot sitting at a desk typing on a computer keyboard. Why would a robot ever use a keyboard? This is one computer connecting to another computer using the most inefficient interface imaginable. It's not very well thought out. Factories are, of course, filled with robots that can lift heavy parts, weld, sew things together, tighten bolts, and so on, but they don't have to be human-shaped. You wouldn't design a sewing machine to look like a person holding a needle and thread, so why would you design a factory robot to look like a person? I worry that if the people building these humanoid robots had been tasked with building a car 140 years ago, instead of building an engine connected directly to the wheels, they would have tried to build some sort of mechanical horse to pull a cart. As I mentioned earlier, there is a huge increase in the number of companies mentioning AI on their earnings calls. According to Brownstone Research, the company who mentioned AI the most was Intel, where the CEO mentioned AI more than 30 times on their fourth quarter 2023 call. Despite all of the talk of AI, Intel fell behind their competitors because, according to Reuters, for more than 2 decades they believed the CPU could more effectively handle the processing tasks required to build and run AI models, which left them lagging behind their competitors in building GPUs. Talking a lot about AI, it seems, does not necessarily mean that a company is at the cutting edge.